Hey everybody, it's Hyraku here, and then today I want to go over some information about the new Fusion event. So, as many of you may know, today is May 12th. The new Fusion just started today, and the Fusion Champion, there's a lot of other YouTubers who are doing guides and like reviews over this Fusion Champion. I don't have him yet, so I can't go too in depth with him, but the focus on this video is going to be more so for the early and middle of the game players who are kind of looking at this champion like, could I use him? Do I need him? Is there anything else better I could do? Or should I even try for this Fusion event whatsoever? So my focus on this video is going to be towards those free-to-play players who aren't quite to the level of having all of these champions already in their champion inventory, and you're wondering what you should even try for, if you should try for anybody. So today, I'm going to go over the 5 rares in this fusion event that you 100% should try to get. And they're not that difficult, actually. So, to start off the list, I'm going to say first off, you definitely want to hold off on the current event. So if you're watching this video when it releases, currently there's a champion training event going on and a dungeon diver event. Now, if you have any energy, like in your missions, your quests, or your challenges, wherever you may have energy that you could claim, hold off on claiming that until tomorrow when the dungeon diver event opens up. The champions I'm about to go over are actually part of the Dungeon Diver event as well as a champion training event. And if you're running those two side by side, you're essentially leveling up a champion and also getting the gear from, assumably, Brutal or whatever stage you're running. So you're progressing through both of these at the same time. So definitely try to hold off on that extra energy until tomorrow. Don't blow it all right now during this champion training event. I kind of wish they would have opened up everything at once, but they didn't. So just to let you know, definitely you want to hold off until tomorrow. Now, let me jump into the champions who I believe are worth going for. I'm going to focus on the ones from this event, and then we'll jump into another event, the Spider Tournament, which is coming up, which has a really good rare in it as well. So, the 5 champions you should definitely try for. First off is Soulbound Bower. So, if you go here to the champion event, she is in the champion training event, and you get her once you get to this 9450 mark. This definitely will take a little while to get. She's relatively high, especially if you're not buying a lot of energy. If you're not buying energy and you're just going off the daily resets, it may be a little bit challenging to get her. You do have 2 weeks to get her, so it shouldn't be impossible. She's definitely should be within reach if you spend your energy wisely. Make sure you stay below the energy cap and try every day to spend as much energy as possible and work towards getting her. You definitely should be able to get her. Now, why is Soulbound Bower so good? Well, let's check her out real quick. So she is a barbarian, I think? Yes, here she is. So attacks all enemies. It's amazing for all the dungeons. She also has a default 25% chance to inflict crits, which means you only have to get her up to 75% crit, and then she'll crit 100% of the time, essentially. Next ability, this Ignore Defense is amazing, hits really hard. This one has a 75% chance of fully depleting the target's turn meter when booked. It takes it to about 100, I do believe. But she's definitely a champion worth getting. She does require a little bit more books than most rares, but they are rare books, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Definitely worth getting. She does amazing in all early game content. Definitely a champion worth trying for in this tournament or this event, since you may not be able to get her in the future from shards. So definitely work on getting Soulbound Bower. She comes from the champion training event, which is open right now until 2 weeks from now, which I believe is May 26th. This says right here. So the second champion I want to talk about is Haruspex, which you can see who he is and when his event opens up over here in the news section. So go over here and read more. You can see actually all the champions and what their scheduled calendar is. This is definitely some interesting information, but we're looking for Haruspex. So here he is, Dungeon Divers event. This is what I was talking about. You want to kind of wait until you open up your energy packs or whatever you may have laying around until tomorrow, May 13th. So then you can work on the champion training event plus the Dungeon Diver event side by side, so you can get the most from your energy. Let's check out him real quick. He is definitely a solid champion. I don't know why I clicked the champion thing just now. Let's go over here and check out Haruspex. So he's a void, so he's a little bit more difficult to get than some other champions may be, since you don't come across void shards as often. So it's definitely a plus for him, and he has no weak affinity. That's good as well. A1 attacks one enemy 2 times, is a 2.5% poison. This is the lower end of the poison damage. The higher one's 5%, but this is a 2 hit on his A1. Definitely not bad. Could give him some viability in Fire Knight, makes him viable in a lot of different areas. The A2 is fills the turn meter of all allies by 15% and places a 15% increased speed. So this is kind of like a tuned down version of some like Apothecary's speed boost. It's not the 30% increased speed, but he has the fills turn meter plus the increased speed to on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. So definitely makes him viable for things like the arena and most dungeons, and just in general, very, very versatile champion. And then this is A3, revives a dead ally, which is actually a really good ability. There's not a whole lot of champions in the game who have a res, so having this on a 5-turn cooldown when booked, and he doesn't require that many books, so you're looking at 6, 7, 8, 9 books, which isn't terribly too many for a rare. So definitely a champion worth trying to get. Like I said, he is in the Dungeon Diver event that starts tomorrow. His aura is increases ally speed in the arena, so it puts him right up there with High Katoon, makes him a potential viable substitute for High Katoon if you wanted to do that. Because she has a 19% speed boost in the arena, but definitely a solid champion to get. You definitely want to try to get him if you are in that early to mid game area and you're wondering if you should even compete in the fusion. You're kind of thinking you shouldn't try for the fusion, but you can still get some rewards. Definitely try to get Haruspex tomorrow from the Dungeon Diver event. Now number 3, we'll jump into Bulwark. You may have heard of him before. He is also part of the Dungeon Divers event. Let's see where he's at. So you can see right here, available from the Dungeon Divers event of May 13th to May 22nd. Let's go over here and check out why he is good. So Bulwark is also a Void champion, so that means he has no weak affinity. You would pull him from Void shards, so it's even better. He's more of a rare, if that makes any sense at all, because you don't get as many voids typically, so he's a little bit more on the difficult side to pull, and you couldn't pull him from a mystery shard. Now his A1 attacks one enemy 2 times. This 2-hit on A1s is great for anybody. Definitely gives him a little bit of viability in Fire Knight. Nothing crazy from this. 15% weaken, nothing outstanding. A little nice debuff, gives his A1 a little bit more utility. His second ability, 75% chance of placing HP burn, which is awesome. HP burn does great against the clan boss, especially in lower levels. HP burn does hit hard. You cannot stack multiple HP burn debuffs on the clan boss though, so in the end poison would do more overall, but as one debuff, HP burn is very solid. But where Bulwark really stands out is his A3, his passive, as well as his aura. His aura is increased ally defense in all battles, makes him viable basically everywhere in the game. So that's a really good ability. But whether you want to take him all his dungeons and everywhere, don't know. But this passive especially makes him good in the clan boss. When attacked, has a 30% chance of extending the duration of all debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn. So if you have him on the clan boss, you have a lot of poisons, you have attack down, defense, decreased defense, and all the good debuffs on the clan boss. Whenever Bulwark gets attacked, he has a 30% chance of extending the duration of all debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn. So it's definitely very helpful whenever he does extend those debuffs. It can greatly increase your clan boss damage, and he's not a bad option to add whatsoever, because he also brings 2 other debuffs which are solid, and an aura if you don't have anybody better. Definitely better than your starter champion's aura. So if you're running with like a Kale or an Aethel or a Gaelic or Elaine, starter aura 15% HP, 17% decrease or 17% defense increase should definitely help you in the clan boss. Now, the what do we say? The fourth rare that I want to talk about is I forgot to mention this. Bulwark is from the Dungeon Diver event as well. I may have already touched on that, but I will make sure you understand. Dungeon Diver event tomorrow is where a lot of these rares are going to come from. Now, to jump into the 4th rare is Ragemonger. Now, Ragemonger is also from the Dungeon Diver event. Let me open this up and show you where he comes from. Ragemonger, okay. Dungeon Diver event, May 13th to May 22nd. So you got a little bit of time to work on him, quite a few days actually, so definitely should be reasonable to get, especially if you're popping a bunch of energy and you have plenty of time to run. Now, Ragemonger is also a Barbarian champion, so now you're looking at 2 Barbarians, Soulbound Bower and Ragemonger, both you got more champions for your faction war team. So let's look at Ragemonger. Now, he's also a Void, so same thing with Bulwark and Haruspex. A little bit more difficult to get these champions. They don't have no weak affinity, so it helps them out. Now on the reverse side, that they also have no affinities they're necessarily strong against, but they don't have any weaknesses. First ability, attacks one enemy 7.5% continuous heal. Not a bad ability, nothing crazy here, but if it's critical, it's a 7.5% continuous heal. Not bad, nothing outstanding. This is a solid ability. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a 2.5% poison. When booked, this goes up to 65%. So this is a AoE poison, essentially. It's only the 2.5% version, so it's not the 5% version, but as an AoE poison on a rare champion, this is really good, actually. Makes him viable in dungeons. Attacks his A3, attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of placing an HP burn debuff for 2 turns. Same thing we talked about earlier on Bulwark. The HP burn is an awesome ability to have. Does more damage on lower clan boss levels especially. Overall, excellent debuff champion. He also brings a little bit more utility to the campaign, but hopefully you're to the point where you're kind of clearing the campaign. If not, you can definitely throw him in the campaign with your Kale or somebody similar. You can add a little bit extra damage. You can do pretty good. Let's look at his reviews. So this is where he's said to be good at. Spider's Den, this A2 ability, AoE poison. Definitely makes him viable in the Spider's Den. But overall, very solid champion. Definitely a champion you should try to get during this event. Now, the 5th champion I want to touch on. She's not part of the Dungeon Diver event or the champion training event. So all the champions I mentioned before this, you can start working on tomorrow. You could be farming up, leveling up your food, and also progressing in the Dungeon Diver event. This champion I wanted to save till the end so that you knew she's not part of these same events. This champion is Frozen Banshee. Frozen Banshee is definitely one of the top tier poison champions overall. Now, she's not up there with some of the legendaries, but she can compete with a lot of them. I know a lot of people doing Nightmare and using Frozen Banshee on their clan boss teams. Absolutely amazing champion. You get her from this Spider tournament, May 15th to May 17th. So this is a little bit more difficult for early game players, most likely. She's probably going to be up here towards the higher end of these tournaments that start May 15th, I believe. So like you can see here, this champion, for example, is a little bit on the higher end. So Frozen Banshee's probably going to be similarly structured. So she may be a little bit out of reach for players who aren't doing very high levels of the Spider's Den. But let me jump in here and show you her abilities in case you're able to get her. So her A1 attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has an 80% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns if the target is under a poison sensitivity debuff. But look here, our ability 3 attacks one enemy, places a 25% poison sensitivity debuff for 2 turns. This is amazing. So it makes her actually do a lot more damage on the clan boss. Poison is an amazing debuff to have on the clan boss. And then this isn't bad either. Definitely a good ability. Attacks one enemy, fills the turn meter of all allies by 2% for each debuff on the target. So not only is she putting the poison debuffs on the target, she could put up to 2 at a time. When booked, this goes up to 100%. And she's also putting the poison sensitivity, which helps her poisons do more damage and your other potential poisoners on your team. So say you have a Kale or somebody like that, then she's helping boost his damage. Now you don't want to stack too many poisoners because you can only have a total of 10 debuffs on the clan boss, and you don't want to take a chance of poison taking the place of like a decreased attack or something. But if you do have those other poisoners, she's definitely an amazing champion. Like if you look at the clan boss here, she's a 4.9, and the Dragon's Lair, she's also really good. The Dragon's Lair takes a ton of damage from poisons, so definitely worth taking a Dragon's Lair. But if you're looking for a clan boss poisoner and you're currently only running somebody like Kale or one of the lower level clan boss poisoners, definitely try to get Frozen Banshee during the Spiders event if she's within reach. I definitely, personally, I wouldn't want to sacrifice getting the champions from the training event and the Dungeon Divers event just to get Frozen Banshee if it would take that much energy. It just really depends on what level of spiders you're farming, how consistent you can do it, how much you need the jewelry, and how far she is up in this list. If it's too far out of reach, don't try it. I'll try to make a follow-up video later on to share my opinions on whether or not you should actually go for the Frozen Banshee in the tournament. Definitely worth trying for, except for the fact that she is only on, I believe, open for 3 days. But as far as value from a champion, she's definitely an amazing champion to have if you don't already have her. So she's open from May 15th to 17th. Yeah, about 3 days. So not very far. You don't got a very big time frame to get her, so you'd have to kind of be going quickly on spiders. So I'll try to make a follow-up video in the next few days on whether or not you should try for her. But overall, this has been the 5 champions you should definitely try for as a early to mid game player who doesn't necessarily want to go for the fusion, doesn't have the ability to get all the potions required, because you do have to level these champions up to, sorry for this is level 50, 50, 50, 50. You have to fully ascend them all, fully ascend all these. So it is very demanding on the potions. So if you're not going for that, there's definitely a lot of value still in this tournament. There's definitely some epics up here that are really good. Actually, all 3 of these epics are really good as well. I'm not going to touch on them in this video. That's more for mid to late game players who have quite a bit of champions already. But if you're an early game player, definitely try to get these rares that I've mentioned, these 5 rares, specifically the 4 rares that are not in the Spider tournament. Try for those. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you want to watch my live stream on Twitch, we stream every day, currently every day, between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. Eastern Time. I'll leave the link to that in the description below. Also, I'll leave the link to my Discord below. And if you enjoy the content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day.